Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm bringing you one last update on my Salamangreat deck, mainly because I took this to my locals last Thursday. I got 4th place, so it performed really well for what it did. And honestly, I wasn't too disappointed. My matchups were pure Mech Knights. I almost lost game 2. My opponent legitimately scared me. He managed to clear my board and fill up his board with a bunch of monsters, but luckily I top decked. Game 2 was a Salamangreat matchup. I lost to that one, mainly because game 3 we both didn't open up with any combo pieces, but it was just a matter of top decking, and my opponent ended up getting that top deck. But my third matchup was Subterra Guru Control. I really didn't have as much problems as I initially thought I was going to, so it still worked out. I managed to win games 1 and 2 against them, so I'm not too disappointed. I'm really happy with my results. So anyway, let me go ahead and show you what I got this time around. So this is primarily the exact same build as last time. There are some key differences because I wanted to see like what else I could do with it moving forward. But yeah, it's generally the same build as before, just with some slight differences. Alright, so starting off, 3 Gazelle. This is standard, your 1-card combo. You gotta run this at 3. It's another Foolish Burial, and it's a free summon. So anytime one of your Salamangreat monsters hit the graves, free summon, pitch another Salamangreat card from your deck to from your deck to the grave. So it's kind of like a Foolish Burial goods, because it lets you send any Salamangreat card. 3 Spinny, standard. You know, I actually like to use his power boost effect sometimes too. And also, he's got a great graveyard effect, but you have to banish him. But of course, if you go for the rank 3, it bypasses that rule. So Spinny, another free summon, and it just goes in tangent with your Gazelle. So definitely want to run this at 3. 2 Foxy, basically Pot of Duality, and also has a good graveyard effect, but sadly you can only choose one effect or the other. So Foxy does have a restriction on that. But generally what you do is like you normal summon him, you could just look at the top 3 cards to dig for some Salamangreat cards, or you can use this graveyard effect where you ditch a Salamangreat card, special summon this card, and you can pop 1 face-up Speller Trap. So it's a good way to bait out or just destroy floodgates. So yeah, because there are certain floodgates that you don't want to encounter, like Summon Limit, Macrocosmos, which is luckily is only at 1, but still, you never know. Or there can only be 1, and those are like literally the worst of the worst. 1 Salamangreat Foul. I actually like this because it's makes my Abyss Dweller place so much easier, and it's a free summon anytime you normal or special summon a Salamangreat monster. So definitely a great card. It chain blocks Balinks, so definitely great. It also helps with back row. You can, and that part is not once per turn, by the way, where you can send 1 Salamangreat card from your hand or field to the grave, then target 1 set Speller Trap your opponent controls, and that set card cannot be activated this turn. So not once per turn on that part, but the free summon effect is a once per turn. So never make that mistake. 1 Falco, just to replenish my spells or traps. And it's another free summon, of course, bounce back a Salamangreat monster you control. But it has to go to your hand. It cannot be like one of your extra deck monsters. So be careful with that effect. And then you can summon this card for free and go into some rank 4s, as well as Jack Jaguar. Jack Jaguar, if you control a Link monster, shuffle back one of your Salamangreats, and special summon this guy from the grave. But Jack Jaguar is also good because he does piercing damage. So figured, why not? Alright, so moving forward, I actually decided to play 3 copies of Flame Buffalo rather than the 2 I had. I completely took off Lady Debug. A lot of people's one of my friends actually, he was, in fact, the guy who played the Salamangreat mirror match against me, he called me a madman. I am not a madman. In fact, I kind of think Buffalo is better in some ways because, 1, you get more value off of him. 2, it's easy to chain block with Balinks. So, like, you normal summon this, link them off for Balinks. Balinks you go chain 1, chain 2 on Balinks. And if you happen to have Foul, you can go into chain 3. But, point being, you want to chain block Buffalo, that way it doesn't get ashed. So you send 1 Cyberse monster from your hand to the grave and draw 2 cards. So amazing. This card just like really gives you some extra value. And the reason I don't like Debug as much anymore is because a lot of people assume that if you Ash Blossom Debug that immediately ends the turn. That is actually not true. In fact, the more effective hand trap to hit with Debug is actually Ghost Ogre. If you Ghost Ogre, they'll still get their search off, but the problem is they can no longer link away that Debug. And considering it's not a Salamangreat, Gazelle's effect cannot trigger. So Debug becomes completely useless if it's destroy with an ogre rather than just hit it with an ash. Because if they already have a gazelle already in hand, they still have a way to combo off. But yeah, that's why I feel like Buffalo is definitely the better one of the two. Moving on to Psychic Wielder. This is my combo extender. It's a level 3/tuner. Free summon if you control a level 3 monster other than Psychic Wielder. And I just like its flexibility, mainly just because like if I go into Cyber's Quantum Dragon, I can pop one monster on my opponent's side of the field since if this was used as synchro material. So definitely a handy card. I know there are a lot of people who are going into the Crusader Reclusius. I could always go back to that if I so choose. I mean, I probably will eventually, but for now in this variant, I'd rather just stick with Psychic Wielder. For hand traps, 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, and of course, 3 Veiler. Ogre, Veiler, definitely one of the best hand traps aside from Ash, because Ash is recyclable in this deck. So, Ash just got extra broken, basically. And it's guaranteed to have it if you buy the Soulburner structure deck. So, and I still see some stores that carry them, so if you haven't picked up your 3 structure decks, I would definitely check out your local Walmarts or Targets, see if they still have Soulburner structure decks available, and you can finally get yourself a common Ash Blossom. Alright, so moving on to spells. Playing 3 circles. I mean, come on, it's Rhoda. Why not? 3 Called by the Grave. Gotta have some built-in protection. 1 Sanctuary. You generally only ever need to play 1 because you can protect it with Balinks. 1 Will of the Salamangreat. I could always bump this up to 2. I know some people are beginning to. I'm only playing 1 still because I'm running Monster Reborn, so I sometimes just want to have 2 different types of extenders. 1 Fusion of Fire to pseudo Super Poly, which, speaking of which, Super Poly. Opponent can't respond to it, so yeah. 1 Emergency Teleport to go for the Psychic Wielders and Ghost Ogres, because most people often forget that Ghost Ogre can actually be used while it's on the field as well. So in case if I don't have it in hand, but I have this, I could set it during my turn and then activate it during my opponent's turn, and basically easy disruption if Ghost Ogre is present on the field. But there's a reason why it's at 1. 1 Foolish Burial, and of course 1 Monster Reborn, and that's pretty much it. And for traps, before I was only playing 1 Salamangreat Roar, but I decided to bump it back up to 2 because I actually do want to see it. And by bumping it back up to 2, I'm now seeing it enough to where I can like always have it, generally always either opening hand or have a way to replenish it with Gazelle's, or not Gazelle's effect, I'm sorry, Sunlight Wolf's effect. And then lastly, 1 Rage. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so for the extra deck, I'm still sticking to 2 copies of Balinks, mainly because I only ever use 2 in the duel. I never bring out my 3rd one. I know most people play 3, but I think 2 is actually just fine. Until I'm proven wrong otherwise, I'm still sticking to 2. So, yeah. But the one you should play at 3 is Sunlight Wolf. Sorry, my tongue got stuck. Happy this card is back down to like $5 a copy, because it was running almost $10 a copy, but thanks to Savage Strike Special Eds, it's fairly cheap again, so I would definitely pick up your playset right away, and before it decides to spike up in price again, you know. 2 Heat Leo. Just good to, it's just an OTK enabler. Just if it's linked with itself, you can weaken your opponent's monsters. You could just target your Ash Blossom in the grave, actually, and basically just make your opponents a Type 0. And I forgot to mention, Silent Wolf has 2 different effects. If a monster is summoned to one of his link arrows, either one, you get to bring back one of your fire monsters, so it's not specific on Salamangreats. And if it was linked with itself, you can add back any one of your spells and traps. And Balinks is your Return of the Dragon Lords and your Field Spell Searcher. Moving on, 1 Hita. This card is amazing. I love it, especially during the mirror match. Just requires 2 monsters, including a fire monster, so you can use any 2 monsters you like. This card basically special summons any fire monster in your opponent's graveyard to your side of the field, so you can take one of your opponent's Sunlight Wolves, link it off with itself, or if your opponent happened to ash you at any given point, take that ash, go into Mirage Stallion just for free. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. It's fire. It's pop spells and traps, so, and back row is pretty important in this format, so I figured, yeah, you definitely want to run it. 1 Update Jammer. 1 Borlow Dragon. I'm not playing Transcode Tiger because if you happen to accidentally use Mirage Stallion's effect, the part where you send it to the grave for Salamangreat monster, I'm sorry, not that part. I'm sorry, the part where you special summon a Salamangreat monster from the deck in defense mode, it'll lock you out from using only fire monster effects. So that's why I don't like to use the Transcode Talker effect. So that most people often forget that part of Mirage Stallion. Which, of course, Mirage Stallion, this MX Saber Invoker. I love this card, but you only ever need to play it at 1 because you can bring it back with Jack Jaguar. 1 Abyss Dweller. Like I said, it's really, with Foul, it makes it a lot easier to bring it out, and a lot of decks are very reliant on their graveyard effects like Danger Thunder, Salamangreat Mirror Match, or actually not Subterra Ritual, BAs, just any of those decks in general, you definitely want to stop them. For the only synchro I'm playing Cyrus Quantum Dragon, it's basically Neospatian Grandma. I made a mistake on my last video, so I apologize for this. So once per turn, whenever this monster engages in battle, you can bounce that monster back to the hand, and this card can attack twice. I said once per battle. That was my fault. I'm really sorry for that. So I meant to say once per turn. But generally, yeah, it's good. You know, another good OTK enabler. It's a generic level 7. And lastly, 1 Salamangreat Violet Chimera. This is basically my deck's win condition. So if I pull it off, my opponent's pretty much done right there. Like, if you have Heat Leo to manipulate the level, or not the levels, the attack points, Violet Chimera's attack points will double, and also it gains half the attack points of the monsters you use to create it. So definitely a great option. Alright, so the side deck is pretty much the same. I did take off Gozen Match, brought back 1 other card, but you'll see it soon. 1 or 3 raw sphere modes. You can also go Lava Golem if you can't pick these up, if you can't afford these right now, because these cards really did double in price. They're like $12 a piece now, so I just happened to get them while they were still $6 before they spiked up. But really good against any Guard Dragon decks. But if you're going to side in Sphere Mode or Lava Golem, you definitely need to side in your Pankratops too, because both those cards will take up your normal summons, and you need to get a monster out there. Against any form of banishment decks, or like decks that like to side in evenly matched, I'm always woefully prepared with Artifact Lancia, because Artifact Lancia pretty much stops that. You dump this during your opponent's turn, your opponent can't banish any cards at all, so Lancia definitely a great card. And you can also set it on your side of the field too, and if they pop it, it's a free body on board, so definitely a useful card. I would definitely recommend Artifact Lancia, and I'm really excited for these two to get holos really soon in Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge, so I'll definitely be picking those up. Triple Twin Twister, it's just standard for any back row heavy deck. This is actually what came into clutch during my Subterra Group Control. This is the one that helped me win against them, because I think he had Sullen Strike set down as well as Called by the Grave. But of course he managed to use the Called by the Grave, but I wasn't too worried. I just needed that strike out of the way. And then lastly, 3 red reboots just to shut down like any trap-based deck. True Dracos are a really nasty matchup for this deck. I really don't like True Dracos, so red reboot definitely comes into clutch. Good against Subterra Group Control too. Trickstars, you know, Trickstars have a really amazing matchup against Salamangreat, so you definitely want to shut down their Trickstar Reincarnation. So, yeah, not much else to say about that. Red Reboot's just broken overall. Well, anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys will enjoy this, and I'll catch you guys again next time.